What's up, beautiful people, and welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Crystal. This is Crystal's Next Chapter, and this is the second time that I am filming this, and I am so devastated because the first time was absolutely phenomenal and so much fun, and I'm just hoping that it is just as good this time. So as you may have seen by the thumbnail and the title of this video, I am going to be getting AI to judge my bookshelf and pick me a read, and then also roast me as a reader and make assumptions about me as a reader based on what is on my shelf. So I've already done this. I hope that I get very similar responses. It'll be interesting to see what it says a second time around because I'm going to give it the same prompt. Pretty much what I'm going to do is give it this photo. You can see I've posted a photo of my TBR shelf, and I'm going to say, like, here's my TBR. What is a book that you would recommend to me? And then go from there. And then I will read one of the books that it recommends to me, and that will be the second portion of this video, is my review of the book that it chooses. Obviously, there's been a lot of AI getting involved in the book community lately, which I am so against. I am happy to use AI when it comes to creating recipes or, you know, coming up with fun craft ideas for my children, but I am not okay with it getting into the art side of the world. I think that when it starts to make things, stealing other people's hard work, not a fan of that. I'm very disappointed that there is now publishing companies exclusively releasing AI works and putting them on shelves for like $5 a pop, making it even more difficult for artists, especially self-published artists, to like fight and like get their beautiful hard work in front of readers like us. So the book that it chooses for me, I will need to read, will need to be from like a hard-working author. It will not be able to be from someone who has used AI. So I will do a bit of research to make sure that that doesn't happen. But without further ado, let's jump into the prompts and see how AI judges me, and then we'll do a little roast in the end where it makes assumptions about me as a reader. But let's pick a book first and decide what we're going to be reading. So I'm pretty much just going to say, here is a photo of my TBR. Actually, I should probably call it a to be read pile just in case they don't understand. To be read pile. I would like you to recommend me 5 books you think I would like to read that are not on this shelf. What further information do you need? Question mark. Let's see what it says. Love this shelf. It's giving chaotic thriller fantasy reader with a soft spot for emotional damage. Before I give you a perfectly tailored recommendation, a few things would really help me narrow it down. Your absolute favorites. You mentioned loving pen pal and no exit. Obviously, this is something that I mentioned in the last time I did this, so because I'm rereading the same AI, it's remembering the last conversation I had, which probably will affect. So fingers crossed that it doesn't affect the answers too much. Mentioned limited. Are there 3 to 5 all-time favorites or even recent 5 stars? Hard no's. You already said no to Dark Academia. Again, it's pulling in stuff I've already told it, which is kind of ruining what is meant to happen. Okay, so now that I've put this prompt in, it's saying you mentioned loving pen pal and no exit. This is stuff that I told it the last time that I did this. I have a feeling I'm not going to like the way that we go with this because it's going to be pulling in my extra information. So what I might do is I might just bring up my conversation that I had with it previously and we'll just go through it together rather than like me re-asking it and getting completely different options that aren't as funny or aren't as, you know, completely blind per se as they were the first time. So if I go to, I don't want to create an image. If I go to my thing and bring up this chat, this is the initial conversation that I had with it. So pretty much I asked the same question, here's a pile, and it came back with a very similar response, wanting the 3 to 5s, books that I didn't like, my current mood, tropes, etc. So then I went back and I said, I want a recommendation of 1 thriller, 1 fantasy, and 1 romance, either dark or contemporary, but needs to involve smut, obviously. Some of my favorite reads include Hate by Tate James, Meet Me in Dreamland by Sinflower81, 13 by Stephen Kavanaugh, Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, Mindfuck by S.T. Abbey, Beartown by Frederick Borkman, Iceborne Barbarians by Ruby Dixon, and The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, and Hangman by Jack Heath. Some of my least favorite books or books I've DNF recently include Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yaros, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, and Dragon Rider by Taryn Matharu. I'm currently in the mood for either a fast-paced thriller or a dark romance. I would love a standalone as I'm already in the middle of too many series. Obviously, it came back and said, based on your shelf and your faves, especially 13 Mindfuck series and Ice Planet Barbarians, I've gone very targeted here. Fast-paced, addictive, a bit unhinged, and a standalone. So the 3 picks that it gave me was a thriller called The Kind Worth Killing. Very mindfuck energy, morally grey characters doing terrible things, multiple POVs and twisty manipulation, fast bingeable pacing that I will fly through. Strangers meet, murder gets casually suggested and then actually happens. If you loved the cat and mouse cleverness of 13, this scratches the itch but with a darker, more psychological edge. So I was very excited in this one. And then it offered a fantasy, which was a standalone darker tone called Blood Over Bright Haven. It had morally grey, ambitious female main character, and then went dark academia. Dark academia and I are not friends. Sorry to all my friends out there that are a fan of dark academia, but it is just not for me. So I skipped straight past that. We looked at our romance. Dark, spicy, standalone, and a bit unhinged. Pen Pal. I have already read Pen Pal, so I moved past this one. And then bonus one it gave me was No Exit, which is also one I have read that I gave 5 stars. So they were on the right track, giving me some 5-star options that I have already read and loved. So I came back and I said, I like the sound of The Kind Worth Killing. I don't like the sound of Blood Over Bright Haven, as I'm not a fan of dark academia. I have already read and loved Pen Pal, and I have already read and loved No Exit. Perfect. That actually helps a lot refine your taste. You're very clearly into fast, high-stakes thrillers, dark, obsessive romance with real spice, fantasy that's not slow, whimsical, or academic. So they upgraded the Rex. We had obviously Kind Worth Killing stayed. Then it gave me Serpent and the Wings of Night, which I have already read and gave 5 stars. And the dark romance that they gave was Still Beating, which was a dark, traumatic, very emotional setup, forced proximity in a survival situation, enemies, which made it messier, and it had spice and the emotional damage combo that I love. So I tossed up between Still Beating and The Kind Worth Killing. I went over to my Libby and my Hoopla, and I have managed to put The Kind Worth Killing on hold. Still Beating, there was no audio available, but I have looked at getting the Kindle copy, and I will read one of those and give you my thoughts at the end. So then it came up and said like bonus thriller, The Chain, which I read, didn't love. I gave it about 3 stars. But what I loved is I then said, okay, here's another look at my TBR shelf. What are 5 assumptions you would make about me as a reader, and 5 assumptions you would make about me as a person? Because why the hell not? To which it answered, I love this question. This shelf actually says a lot about you. I'll keep it fun, but grounded in what I can genuinely infer, not wild guesses. So the first one was, I prioritize pace and payoff over prose. With authors like Frida McFadden, TJ Newman, and Steve Kavanaugh on your shelf, you clearly love books that hook you fast and keep high tension. You're not here for slow literary build-ups. You want momentum. Check. Correct. Second assumption, you love morally grey or slightly unhinged characters. Between dark romances and twisty thrillers, you're drawn to characters who make bad decisions, justify them, and pull you along anyways. You don't need to like the character, you need to be obsessed. I felt very, very seen by this time in the video. So, yeah. You're a mood reader, not a strict genre reader. Your shelf jumps between thrillers, fantasy, and romance. That tells me that I pick based on vibe, not on a genre loyalty, which is also very true. I enjoy accessible fantasies, not dense world building. Seeing authors like Rebecca Yarros and Sarah J. Maas and avoiding DNFs like Emily Wilde suggests you like fantasy with strong characters and romance hooks, not heavy lore dumps and slow starts. To be fair, I used to love the lore dumps, but that was before I had children and ended up with baby brain. Now I can't deal with them. You're a high volume reader who likes variety. Your TBR isn't small or overly curated, it's stacked and diverse. This tells me you read a lot. You're open to trying things, but you're also quick to DNF if it's not hitting, which is very true. The assumptions it made about me as a person is where it loses me. You enjoy controlled chaos. Your reading tastes lean towards high stakes, emotional intensity, dark themes. That often reflects someone who enjoys experiencing chaos safely through books, while likely being quite functional in real life. This is kind of true, but my real life is so chaotic at the moment that sometimes I want a little less chaos in my reading. You're emotionally perceptive, but not overly sentimental. Books like Beartown and Four Winds mixed in with darker reads suggest you appreciate emotional depth, but you don't want it to feel slow or indulgent. You want feelings but with impact. I can kind of relate to that, but again, this is where it started to lose me. You're decisive and know what you like. You clear DNFs and strong favourite shows. You don't force yourself to finish things, and you trust your taste. That is actually a pretty confident reader trait. I am only starting to become confident in my DNF ability in the last 2 years. Prior to that, I felt like I had to finish books. You probably enjoy discussion and analysis. Your mix of dark themes, morally complex situations, and emotional reads suggest you like talking about books, not just reading them. So I disagree with this point wholeheartedly, because I am the person that goes to book club and everyone else is having conversations about this literary prose or this like unspoken meaning, and I'm just like, yeah, they fucked. Like, I'm so bad. You like a balance of escapism and realism. You're not purely fantasy or purely contemporary. You want escape, but also grounded emotional or psychological stakes. To a degree, yeah, but I do also like to completely escape. Then came down and said, if you want, I can turn this into a BookTube video concept. Haha, I beat you to it. Or roast you gently based on your shelf. And I said, please roast me on my shelf. All right, you asked for it. Dun 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 dun. This is the fun part. Your TBR shelf roast. You don't have a TBR. You have a book adoption center. You're not planning to read these, you're just emotionally committed to rescuing every mildly interesting book you see. Half of these are probably bought with, this sounds so me, and now they're just vibing, untouched, judging you. Just like this AI is judging me. You are one plot twist away from betrayal trauma. Your shelf is basically thrillers where everyone lies, dark romances where everyone needs therapy, and fantasy where everyone is morally questionable. At this point, if a character is emotionally stable, you're like, suspicious. You say you love fantasy, but only if it behaves like a thriller. The second a book starts describing trees, magic system, or vibes, you're out. You want fantasy, but only if it moves fast, hurts your feelings, and possibly includes murder. I've never been more seen than in some of these. You're a serial this will fix me reader. You've got emotionally devastating books, I want to feel something. Dark romance, I want chaos. Fast thrillers, I need to get out of a slump. Respectfully, none of these have fixed you yet. Burn from AI. You are in at least 7 unfinished series right now. Well, I can tell you it's more than 7. Video coming at how many it is. And instead of continuing them, you said, what if I just started something new instead? Your commitment issues are showing, but only with fictional worlds. Yes, very much. I'm very committed to my partner, but I cheat a lot on my book series. Your spice tolerance is concerning. You're not reading romance for the romance. You're reading it like, yes, but how emotionally damaging and morally questionable is this man? If it doesn't come with obsession, trauma, and at least one, this is probably illegal moment, you're bored. Look, it's not completely untrue. You don't read books, you binge them or abandon them. There's no middle ground. You either finish in 24 hours or never speak of it again. I feel like since becoming a mum, this is no longer real. But this was me before. So now it's like I finish within 1 week or I never speak of it again, and it just kind of sits there gathering dust. Your shelf screams, I want to be to entertain at all times. Slow bands, no thank you. Character study, no thank you. Beautiful writing, okay maybe, but only if something dramatic happens soon. You've got the attention span of someone who's been personally victimized by boring books. Yeah, I want my money back and my time back after reading The Stand by Stephen King. That's all I'm going to say about that. You absolutely judge books within the first 30 pages, and honestly fair, because also some of those DNFs didn't stand a chance. I feel like sometimes it's even less than 30 pages. Sometimes it's even the first chapter. Deep down, you just want a book that makes you feel like no exit stress, mindfuck Siri chaos, pen pal emotional damage, and anything less is a disappointment. Okay, AI, I feel seen. Final verdict, you're a chaos-loving, pace-obsessed, emotionally curious, morally grey, enjoying reader with a slight tendency to start too many books, crave intensity, and abandon anything that doesn't immediately serve drama. Oh, I didn't do this last time, but I'm curious. Let's get them to roast my reading habits. Oh, you want habits roasted too? Say less. You don't start a book, you audition it. Every book is on a 30-page trial period, like impress me or perish. Authors are out here building worlds and you're like, yeah, but why am I not obsessed yet? Your DNF list is longer than your grocery list. You don't finish bad books, you realize You release them back into the wild with zero remorse. Somewhere out here there's a book at 62% wondering what it did wrong. You are either in a reading slump or a reading frenzy. There's no in between. Slump you? I don't feel like reading anything. Frenzy you? Finishes 3 books in 2 days and starts 4 more. Yep, that's definitely me. 100%. You absolutely get distracted by new releases. Not really. I've been so out of the book world lately that new releases have not been tempting me. You romanticize the idea of certain books more than reading them. Your brain's like, this will be a 5-star life-changing experience. Reality, read 40 pages, 5 checks fails, and now it's in the it's just shelf decor. Okay, I feel seen with that one. You chase the high of your last favorite read. You're constantly looking for the same intensity, the same obsession, the same emotional damage. And when a book is just good, you're like, underwhelming. Isn't that just like all of us though? You are dangerously influenced by vibes. Cover, yes. Trope, yes. TikTok hype, yes. Actually, likelihood you'll read it soon. Let's not get into that. The amount of books that I was like, I bought this because everyone told me I should buy it. I bought this because this cover was beautiful. Yep. You read fast, but only when you're obsessed. Yes. You think you want slow burn, but you actually don't. You say, I love tension and slow build, but what you mean is something better happens sooner. I'm out. True. You keep adding to your TBR like you're immortal. Okay, that's harsh. You are a high standard, chaos driven, dopamine chasing reader who refuses to waste time on mediocrity, but also might be sabotaging slow burning masterpieces. So what I'll do now is I will go and read one of the books that the lovely robot has chosen for me, and I'll come back and give you my thoughts in the second portion of this video. Again, I apologize that I had to pretty much just reread a script to you, but I had this filmed and the audio didn't work. So this is the best thing I could do other than completely refilming it. But as you saw, when I tried to ask it the same prompts, it remembered what I told it last time. So it wasn't going to get me the same genuine reaction or information. So there you have it, guys. I'll come back and see you when I'm ready for the view portion of this video.